if you remember, Kaitlynn, how your symptoms were like, with your FND before starting the program. Let's start from there.
Yeah, so I was having quite a bit of the non-epileptic seizures, lots of episodes every day, and really bad headaches and migraines. I was living in constant pain and like always falling down and hurting myself more, dizziness, light and sound sensitivity, kind of the works, really.
Yeah, not to mention brain fogs.
Very much so.
Yeah. Viola, what do you remember about Caitlin's all these symptoms? Because it's been a while.
Right. Yeah. It's been several years. And right, like she was a really active child her whole life. I mean, never stopped dancing and singing and doing gymnastics tricks that she could. And she ended up with a concussion and then another one shortly thereafter. And then it just kind of was a spiral of, trying physical therapy. And then she graduated and got another concussion. And just, I mean, she has had a headache from August of 2021 up until about 2 months ago. Constant headache. She can't be on, I mean, she's on the computer screen now, but she hadn't been able to be on screens at all. She was missing not just a day at school, but months at school. Thankfully, where she was going to school at the time was really gracious at that time and allowed a lot of accommodations. But I mean, she would have like spacing type seizures. And then in her freshman year, she started and she'd have some of those. And then she would just start having these seizures and we didn't know what they were. And she'd like go in the bathroom to try and hide them. So, right, she's a freshman, she's new to high school. So when she would feel off, she'd try and like go in the bathroom and like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't want everybody to see me and hiding. And then she went to a point where she was out of school. Why we spent so much time between doctors and hospitals, at least 2 months. And then she got put homebound and she wasn't even allowed to go to school because she couldn't stay upright and they were worried about her falling downstairs. And so really her life just was being at home. I mean, we didn't really go to the grocery store. We'd make a list, we'd go get it. And then if we had an episode, one of us would go to I'd go get her to the car and get the few groceries we needed, but I would try and get them other times too. So not a lot of function.
Pretty much life is on hold, right? And I don't know what else to say it, but like FND is sort of like holding you captive. And then it's almost like you were kidnapped, kind of thing, right? I'm obviously joking, but it was sort of like stealing your life, and just not really a normal, whatever normal, means. And I always say that, when anyone is diagnosed with FND, nobody really knows, what it is or even heard of it. So what was it like for you guys when you got the diagnosis of PNES or FND? What was your reaction?
I definitely was a bit confused at first. I had never heard of it personally, and I was grateful to have the diagnosis, but I was confused. But I was also partially worried that what if some of the seizures were epileptic and some weren't? So I did have a little bit of concern of that at first, and then it was the matter of trying to find a provider.
Viola, what about your experience as a parent?
Right, watching your child hurt and not be able to do anything and actually going to the hospital, and going to the hospital actually made her worse to the point like that it started collapsing her veins, the treatment that they were trying. And right, it's a scary thing because you're like, okay, what does this do? I need to take a leave of absence from work, or maybe I need to quit my job. Well, then where am I going to take care of her at? And so it was kind of hard. And then she's like, oh, you have this. And I'm like, okay, watch this YouTube video. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the next step? And so, right, like that process of trying to find, thankfully, we were given, once they were like, hey, we're not seeing electrical activity, we think it's FND. They were able to like shoot me to your video fairly quick. And so just kind of navigating that and, well, how do you treat that? Is that like, do you take medicine like allergies? Do you see physical therapy? Who do you see? And like, how do you find that cure? Or, right, how do we manage life and symptoms and things as we know it? And so after I learned a little bit about it, I was like, okay, it's making sense. I think it's just kind of that shock and disbelief because, like you said, I mean, we do now know that one of her friends, one of my son's friends, has FND. And so we already knew somebody in our life, but the symptoms are so different. And so learning what it was and then trying to educate myself, but also trying to educate the school and those that come in contact with her afterward was definitely a challenge. I think I had an easier time accepting it just because I'm like, okay, now we at least know what we're fighting against, like what we're trying to walk through and move through. It's better because we then had a direction to go instead of try this doctor, try that doctor, go to an ENT, go to a physical therapist, go to a chronic pain doctor, try, 35 different meds, which in and of itself had side effects that have not been the kindest. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And so when you found the program, Kaitlynn, how was your kind of like experience like coming into this? Did you feel skeptical, or you felt like, oh yeah, this is it? Nobody knows until you actually do it, right? Even though you have some information ahead of the time. So I'm curious how your experience was.
Yeah, at that point, I was like, they've already pumped me full of like all these meds, and we've already tried something else. So, what does it hurt to try something else?
Mm.
Especially that it is directed towards what I have. And I was very hopeful that it would help.
Viola, what was your kind of sentiment or inclination?
right, watching like the videos and I'm just like, okay, we can do it. And I know, right, like in my brain, I knew that, right, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon kind of treatment and healing. And so finding it and coming in, I'm like, okay, we have this. But then there was a part of me that's like, okay, I'm going to get through these modules really fast. I'm going to do this and do that. And all of those things like, nope, she's got to do it. And right, it's a retraining not only of her brain, but also our brains. And so I was just excited to get started so that we could move forward and start gaining back life.
Yeah, absolutely. And so since you're, in the program, what do you think has been helpful for you guys as a parent and also a teen? So let's start with Kaitlynn.
Oh, the modules are very helpful and well described of the different skills that you can use to help yourself and really help set boundaries of where you want others to help as well. So the modules are really helpful, and it's nice to also have a community of those who understand what you've been through and just being able to support each other through it all.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're in it for like basically to win the game, so to speak, right? So it's just really helping with each other and inspiring with each other. Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Viola?
Right. Well, the first one, right, kind of where you talk about the first module where you like what FND is, I kind of like came in and as I was watching, I was like, yeah, that's what I was able to find. So thankfully, like my search kind of led me in the correct direction of FND with your information and some other information. But I think the repeating of it and of like, this is what it is, but also that community and those calls, because even though I know I haven't said a ton in the community meetings, right? Like I am hearing other parents are going this through. We're not crazy. Our kids aren't crazy. It's not all in their heads, right? Like this is a real thing. And right, to see people who have done better and have been longer without symptoms or, seeing that change in function. And then also hearing some of the new families coming in. And I'm like, I remember that space. I remember being there and thinking like, this is the rest of our lives. We're not getting like, she's going to have seizures. I'm going to have to take care of her. What is going to college and all that look like? And right, what is the next hour look like versus now I'm like, okay, she's about to go full time at a university for her junior year of high school. And right, and she wants to drive, like that's her goal because she took her driving class and then started having seizures. And so, right, like I know that's her next bigger goal that she wants to do is be able to be it seizure free enough that they'll allow her to take her permit and do that. And right, like, I mean, even just this week, seeing some of those celebrations of other kiddos that have learned those strategies and they are able to get there, right? It's just, I'm excited for them, but I'm also excited because look, Kaitlynn could get there too. And I think that's her next step that she really wants to take in her independence as she grows. And so,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. So speaking of, all the amazing progress and hard work, because, the thing about my program is that it's self-paced, right? So that nobody is breathing down by your neck and then pressuring, right? No, you have to do this, you have to do this, right? So you also need to be, like wanting to get better. So then you can have the control, over the time and where and how you can practice all the skills and strategies. And so fast forward to sort of now, where are you in terms of your progress, both functioning wise, kind of symptom wise, and where are you?
I'm back to school full time. I mean, I do miss a day here or two, but there are going to be up and downs in your FND recovery. So, like, it is good that you brought that up at like the very beginning of the treatment and remind us, because sometimes it can be hard when like you have those rougher days and are just kind of like, oh, come on. But I'm back to school. I've been dancing at home and being able to like do some of my like little tricks and flips. So that's been nice. Able to be doing some college classes too, and just really hanging out with friends and just getting my life back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so before you started the program, not that I a lot about or any about your symptoms, right? Because the measurement of the progress is really about how much can you get back to your life, right? And then enjoying, your life. I'm assuming, is it safe to say that you're not having the same episode multiple times a day with all these headaches and pain and everything else? So where are you with that?
Correct. Yeah, I have definitely improved. I used to say like 15 a day, but now I can say maybe one a day, not even that. And I've been pretty much pain-free for 2 months, comes and goes, but for the most part, I haven't been having pain either. So
That's amazing. Yeah, wonderful. Viola, do you agree with what Kaitlynn is saying?
yeah, I do. I mean, right, like chronic pain and all these episodes were so much of every day and everything that we did. Talk about like trauma for parents. I mean, also for her, but I know that, I mean, myself and even her siblings, right? Every time we heard a bang, it was hurry, let's go to where we hear that because, oh, did she just fall down the stairs again? Did she like fall into the bathtub and like she would rip down the shower curtain? And now we're to the point where like I'll hear a noise and I will just wait. And I'm like, okay, well, if I don't hear any other big noise, like we're fine. And at first it was really hard to just be like, okay, she's safe. Make sure that she's not having an episode next to like the corner of something. And then I walk away and I'm just like, yeah, she's, I was like, she's buffering is what I say. It's like watching a slow, internet connection. And I'm just like, okay, she's fine. She's going to do that. And then we can go out and do these things. And as she's been more active, she's gotten in the pool. And there have been times where she's in the pool and I am not in the pool. And I'm not even in the same space as the pool, right? Like before, I'm like, I'm not going to leave because if you're going to have an episode, you're face down in the pool. Yes, there's lifeguards, but do they see you at enough time? And so just her independence and getting that back. And I came upstairs and like cried when I went downstairs and she was doing handstands and she was spinning and all those things because we hadn't seen it for over 2 years.
Oh
right. And so to get that back and just be like, okay, you can do this, right? It's amazing. And I just can't wait to see her continue to grow.
Absolutely. Yeah. So are you getting that taste of like getting Kaitlynn back, getting your daughter back?
Yes, I'm like getting her back just as enough to be, 16 and moving on with like that independence phase. So I get her back a little bit, but to go out. Can I hang out with my friends? Can I go here? Can I do that? Yes, you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's amazing. Right. And I always say, we're not quite out of the woods yet, but
Right.
just thinking about how far you have come, considering how long you have been struggling, and rather quickly, getting to this point is just like amazing and just speechless, right? It's just because of your hard work and implementing the skills and strategies you're learning, the proven path, that you're following. So I'm very proud of both of you, right? And it takes a village. So I know that it's not one thing, like one and done, thing. It's a marathon, to your point, Viola. Yeah. So what would you say to other families, both parents and teens, who are kind of on the fence, about maybe watching my YouTube videos, just like where you were, Viola, and not quite, joining the program just yet? What would you say to those families? Maybe start with Viola this time.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's worth it, even if you're like, "Ugh, it's one more treatment, it's one more thing," right? You're on the fence, and kind of like Kaitlynn said, like, what more do you have to lose at this point? But right, it's just, I would say, take the leap and dive in. And it's as much for them, yes, it's for them, but it's as much for you. I got to the point in module 9 that I was like, okay, I think I'm going to be here for a little bit. I'm going to have to stop because I've got to work on those skills, right? And so just diving in, and right, like, even if you're unsure, like, hey, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna watch the videos, I'm gonna hear all of the strategies and how to do these things, and I'm gonna take it to heart, because I know there are some things that you talked about that Kaitlynn had tried before, and she's like, "Ugh, it just doesn't work." But right, like, doing the modules, doing it together is super important, and having those discussions weekly, like, hey, what are you working for, or what are you doing, right? Because you're in FND together, whether you want to be or not, because it's the whole family is kind of involved in it, and the healing is very much together. And so I just say do it. And even if you get further than your child, or your child is further than you, that's okay, right? And I know that I did a couple of them, and then I had a space where I didn't do them. And because it's self-paced, the nice part is, hey, I'm here, I have this, I'm just going to stay in this part, but then I can, when I'm ready for the next step, I can take that next step.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. Kaitlynn?
I would say just do it. Yeah, definitely helps, and at least in my experience, and worth it.
Yeah. And I also want to quickly point out what your mom was saying, Kaitlynn, that there are maybe a lot of teens, right, who been there, done that, right? Seen so many different therapists or other doctors and this and that, that, right? And so they're maybe overwhelmed, and then, yeah, I did that, it didn't work. So I'm curious, what do you think was helpful for you, Kaitlynn, even though things were not helpful then?
I mean, for one, the support of the community has been definitely helpful. And then you can figure out what skills work with different symptoms and how to treat the different symptoms by yourself, and be able to move on and past this. So you're really able to just like be more flexible with it, because in other like therapies or treatments, it's just, yeah, like you do this with this, but it's not like that with your program. It's very flexible, and you're able to just move at your own pace, but also find out what works for when, and make it like personal to yourself, your own situation.
Yeah. So just to kind of summarize it, sounds like what I'm hearing is that your ability to, take control, right, of customizing, what works for you, instead of following this like a cookie cutter, thing, right, that may or may not work for you. And so then you're naturally doing the right things that work for you. And it sounds like this community support was helpful for you to do the right things with the right mindset, like that. Yes. Okay. I am actually helping myself more than anything else. And this getting better is important for me. Like this matters to me. So it sounds like you have this nice fusion of doing the right thing with the right mindset, which I talk about it all the time in my coaching calls. Yeah.
And I think, right, like, for those that are on the fence, you're informing yourself, because you don't just say, well, here, do this, do guided imagery. we're going to do this. This is how you do it. But you give the why, you give the explanation, like you're doing this and here's why, here's how it connects. This is the cycle. This is what your body's doing. So, right, like informing yourself and educating yourself, not just in what FND is, but these strategies and here's why and here's what it is, and having that better, deeper understanding, I think really helps to support both teens and their parents.
Yeah.
Now you have the answers and you explain, this is why we're doing this. This is how this helps that. Instead of, here, take this pill because it'll make everything better. Here, talk to a therapist just because we know it'll make it better. There's reasons, like we're doing this because this is how this can help.
That's right. Yeah, because otherwise it's really difficult, to feel motivated, right? For something that you don't know what it is, that you're about to be doing. So yeah, that totally makes sense. Absolutely. I am so impressed, Kaitlynn, and very proud of both of you, for just not giving up, right? Because that's 100% under your control. There's nothing I can do or anyone can do to change that, if you choose to give up, right? So I'm really proud of both of you for showing up for yourself, and it takes a village. So I'm very honored to guide you towards this recovery, pathway. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I am so wowed, Kaitlynn, how eloquent you are, with how you describe things. So super impressive. Thank you. Yeah. And Kaitlynn, you just missed it in the coaching call, like right before this. We had a new families who joined from UK. And then so her name is Poppy, and then she was popping, to the coaching call. So it was really nice to have that new addition. Yeah. But thank you so much, again, for your time. And I really appreciate it. And have a wonderful weekend, rest of your week. And then I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Alrighty.